Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Oh, Miss Lucy dead and gone, left me here to weep and moan. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Oh, Miss Lucy dead and gone, left me here to weep and moan. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Oh, Miss Lucy dead and gone, left me here to weep and moan. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, a green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Oh, Miss Lucy dead and gone, left me here to weep and moan.
There are a lot of giants still standing across America. Some are famous, some are restored, some have become landmarks, but others disappear slowly. They get moved from one business to another. They lose their lettering, they lose their purpose, they lose their heads, their arms, their stories. And then one day, someone finds them in a field, barely standing, and the question becomes, can this thing be saved? What is the story? What secrets is he hiding? This is the story of our first Muffler Man restoration. And it started with one blurry photo on Roadside America. In April of 2011, a tip appeared showing a strange Muffler Man in Mortons Gap, Kentucky. It was clearly a 14-foot Muffler Man body, but it was headless. Or at least, it should have been. Someone had built a crude homemade head and stuck it on top. It had a broken foot, missing arms, and an axe hanging by a string from an empty arm socket. There was no full history with the photo, no clear directions, just enough information to make me want to go find it. So on August 11th, 2011, I made the trip to Mortons Gap. And that's when I met Patricia and David Lovin. They took me out to their donkey pasture, and there he was. The giant was being held by a pole. His body was patched together with old signs and metal plates. There were screws everywhere. The foot was broken. The head and arms were gone. But even in that condition, I was excited, because underneath all of that damage was the unmistakable shape of an early Muffler Man. I posed with it. They took some pictures. The sun was going down. And of course, I tried to buy it. But Patricia and David had their own story with him. And at that point, they wanted to keep him. I came back about a year later in August of 2012. That was probably the trip where I really started pushing harder to buy him. I took more pictures, shot video for the first time, and really studied his condition. That was also when the idea started forming in my mind, if I can't buy him, can I still restore him? And is that even possible? At that point, I had no real experience restoring Muffler Men. I didn't know fiberglass restoration. I didn't know where we could get a head. I didn't know where we could get arms. But I knew he deserved better than slowly falling apart in a field. Then, not long after that second visit, David passed away. He died on October 10th, 2012. Patricia called me and told me the news, and our discussion turned to getting the giant fixed up for David. He had always been fond of him, and Patricia liked the idea. I reached out to Mark Cline, who I had never talked to before, but I was aware of his work. I told Mark about what I was doing, and he liked that I was trying to save the headless giant. He told me he had what I needed, and he would work with me on price to make it affordable in the interest of saving a Muffler Man. So almost a year to the day after David passed away, Netto and I rolled up on Mark Cline's studios in Natural Bridge, Virginia.
We had an attraction down there called Dinosaur Kingdom, where the dinosaurs were chewing on Yankees. And so this is a Yankee soldier. This was animated. He comes down and he growls and moves his head and opens his mouth. So, all right, now I'm gonna take you over into the boneyard. All right, and this is where people will come here and they'll see this as missed opportunities, but this is just a whole yard full of opportunities, because this is like purgatory for these pieces. See, it's a whole sea of molds, and it looks all, like it's, there's no rhyme or reason to this, but I know every mold. I made every piece here by hand. The Muffler Man's, he's elusive, right? He's an elusive guy. Yes, he is. Yep, that rooster. That's an iconic rooster right there. Yeah, it's amazing this guy just recognizes these pieces. Nobody else would know this. Joel, lift the feet up there. This bush grew up in between this thing over the summer. There we go. And let's go start our axe. Joel tells me about this Muffler Man in Kentucky that is missing parts. The arms and the head, they're gone, and so he gets this plan that perhaps I could use some of my molds, and he could find a way to present these pieces to this sad old piece that needs new life to it. It is sad to see one of these iconic pieces standing there, and if people like Joel and myself and are not gonna come to its rescue, who is? So I had the mold of the head, and we went into my shop and poured this up, popped it out. So now we got the head and the arms, and then Joel says, "Hey, wait a minute, we need an axe." I said, "Oh man." Okay, yes, absolutely. So while they were here, I produced this axe, which will fit into the hands, and hopefully he'll be complete, and he'll be happy. Joel will be happy. I'll be happy. Everybody that sees him will be happy. Man, that's what it's all about. These pieces to bring happiness to the world. We need at least 3,000 or 4,000 in every country, and I think everybody would be happy. No more wars. You see a Muffler Man in the morning outside your window, man, how could you not be happy, right? It's my world every day. Yeah. Every day. And I never get tired of it. Sometimes it gets a little monotonous, you know, but I never get tired of it. I think of the alternative, you know?
Right.
Here's Johnny!
By the end of the day, we loaded up the head and hands and forged a permanent friendship with Mark Cline.
Nobody said it was a clean job.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Okay.
Really appreciate it.
No problem. You take care. Be good.
And then in September of 2014, we finally came back to pick him up. We didn't realize it, but this was the very beginning of what would become American Giant's restoration.
And a big crack. That one's going to be the challenge. Looks like a street sign. Currently holding them together. Get to the lip in the shoe.
We were excited, but we were also completely new at this. We had never taken down a Muffler Man. We didn't have a system, we didn't have years of restoration experience. We just had a trailer, 3 excited guys, and a giant in a donkey pasture. So we've come down to the day when we're going to take him down. This is it. This Muffler Man was set up in 1995, and very shortly after that, they brought him to this spot out here in the donkey pasture, right on top of the hill, overlooking the interstate. This is it. We're going to take him down, pack him up, and take him home for a full restoration.
It's screwed, drywall screwed into the
So it'll all come down.
It'll all come down as one piece.
All right.
And we'll have to take it off on the ground.
Are you going all the way to the truck then?
A little bit at a time.
Got it?
Got him, Neto?
Yep.
We can take that gear down, Neto. Go down.
That's not too bad, Joe.
Not bad, huh?
I thought he looked bigger than that, didn't you? I had this beer a long time ago.
Oh,
Lord,
it's a
what
cone.
you got?
Told you. I knew it. You have one more? Yeah, there's one more in there.
As we pulled out of the pasture, that moment was huge for us. We weren't just hauling away an old fiberglass statue. We were taking on our first real restoration. And at that point, we knew a few things about him. We knew he was a 14-foot Muffler Man. We knew he had been altered badly, and we knew he was missing some major parts. But we did not yet understand how important he really was. That would come later. The first thing Neto and I did when we got him home was to take him to the car wash. We wanted to clean off decades of dirt and paint and see what we were actually dealing with underneath. That was the beginning of the investigation. Because with these old giants, restoration isn't just about fixing fiberglass, it's archaeology. Every layer of paint tells you something. Every hole tells you something. Every old repair tells you something. Any lettering or numbers, they fill in the mystery. And we were hoping this giant would have a lot to say. It's hard to explain, but when you follow and admire these giants, and then actually you get to bring one home and lay it on your lawn, there's just this high you get from just having a Muffler Man at your place. The restoration began with excitement, but it soon turned to head scratching. Neto and I were the first ones to put the arms and the head on the giant and realized we had some issues. The head was not an exact original. Over time, Mark had modified these heads into now what we call the soda jerk style head. like the one on Carl in Normal, Illinois on Route 66. He had managed to save one of these heads with the beard, but it still was larger than the original. But it was close enough, and it was all we had to work with. And at this point, just having a head and arms felt like a miracle. For a while, the giant just sat at my place while Neto and I tried to figure out what to do next. And that's when Michael Yunkin really became involved. Michael and I worked together at the time, and Michael has always been one of those people who can just figure anything out. Whatever the problem is, he studies it, he works at it, he becomes good at it. And that's what happened with fiberglass. Michael basically said, "I'll help you with this." And that changed everything. We got permission to bring the giant into a storage room where we worked. We put him up on sawhorses, and Michael started with the broken foot. None of us were experts. We bought fiberglass, we bought resin, we started experimenting, and we cleaned him up and started taking him apart.
Gonna put in the last piece of fiberglass for the night. Yeah, we basically need to get down this top layer to this layer.
But we don't have to go any lower than that.
Take this clamp off, and we're going to see if the repair we did the other day holds and his back's in one piece. Hey!
Bulb went out? Breaker.
Why would a breaker blow, Neto? As we cleaned him up and started taking him apart, we found the first major clue. Stamped into the fiberglass under layers of paint was a stamp that said International Fiberglass Company, and the date was 1963.
4054
Is this serial
Venice,
number?
California.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? International Fiberglass, a small boat company run by Steve Dashew in Venice, California, was still in its infancy in 1963. In October or September of that year, Steve responded to an ad in the paper for a fiberglass plant that was for sale. Bob Pruitt of Lawndale was a pioneer in the fiberglass world. An agreement was reached, and soon all of Bob's fiberglass molds were headed to Venice. Suddenly, International Fiberglass could make horses, cows, and even a giant Paul Bunyan. The 1963 stamp does not necessarily mean this giant was made that year, but it did likely mean that the giant was not just old, he was one of the first. Then we found another clue. Written inside the body, in marker, were the words, Implement Specialty Company, St. Louis, Missouri. That told us where he had originally been shipped. And then came one of the most exciting discoveries of the entire restoration.
Oh, wow. Implement. Wow. That's the Implement Specialty Company.
Did you know there was anything on this?
You know, I think there was one time I might have seen, I thought I saw a letter, but it really wasn't anything I thought about. Look at that. You can tell it's from the 60s era with the font.
Yeah, definitely old school.
That is, what do we got over here?
This looks like a name. L-U-K-E, so Luke. And then it looks like an L-O, maybe an M.
Wow.
So thinking
That's
this is
incredible.
like maybe his name, like a name badge on a
That's
shirt.
something.
So
We've got, it's been so hard to find history on this guy. We've traced it back to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and now here all these clues are right here under the paint.
Under the paint, across the front of the giant, were the original words, Implement Specialty Company. And on the other side of the chest, Luke Lombard. At that time, I didn't know who Luke Lombard was. I had no clue. But that name opened up a much bigger story, and old newspaper archives helped solve the mystery. Luke Lombard was a promotional character for Lombard chainsaws. In the mid-1960s, Lombard used giant Paul Bunyan-style figures to promote its chainsaws at dealers, fairs, woodcutting events, hardware stores. Luke was billed as Paul Bunyan's cousin in the advertising material. Some of the first Luke Lombard displays were actually full-size 20-foot Paul Bunyan figures. By 1966 and 1967, you started seeing newspaper ads and photos of 14-foot Luke Lombard figures traveling around the country. They were used to bring people into stores. Come see Big Luke, bring the kids, take a picture, watch a chainsaw demonstration, try to beat the dealer in a cutting contest. It was classic roadside advertising. A giant figure stopped traffic, drew families in, and gave local dealers something people would remember. And sometimes the stories around these giants got even stranger. Heads and hats were sometimes stolen, and ads were put in the newspapers to help find the missing pieces before the giant was moved to the next location. And that tells you something important. These figures were not just signs, they were events. They were moved from place to place. They were promoted in the newspapers. They were photographed with families. They became temporary celebrities in small towns, and our giant had been part of that world. And the Implement Specialty Company lettering, as well as the Luke Lombard lettering on his chest, make him one of the most historically important 14-foot giants we have ever encountered. But by the early 1990s, he had made his way to the Fort Campbell area in Kentucky. He was connected to Pistol Pete's and the Jolly Green Giant pawn shop world of the Ladd family. Pistol Pete's was connected to Robert Ladd and the Ladd family business around Oak Grove, Kentucky. There was also the Jolly Green Giant pawn shop located at 16020 Fort Campbell Boulevard in Oak Grove. A 1992 Business Review described the Jolly Green Giant pawn shop as a place dealing in stereos, jewelry, guns, televisions, gold, silver, general merchandise, and the manager was a lady named Julie Tickey. According to the oral history from John and the Ladd family connection, Paul White was the local fiberglass craftsman tied to many of these fiberglass figures. The Jolly Green Giant site also had a storage area behind it. Fiberglass pieces were stored there over the years, including chicken parts believed to have come from a chicken delivery car, a standing rooster, and other figures connected to the Ladd family business. Some of those pieces survived in private hands, others were lost. And then there was the fire. In May of 2000, the newspapers reported that 2 juveniles faced arson charges after a blaze destroyed a warehouse behind the Jolly Green Giant pawn shop in Oak Grove. That fire became part of the end of the old roadside world. After the fire, vandalism and theft increased. The site declined. Eventually, the city of Oak Grove bulldozed much of what was left. But when our giant was there, he was a part of it. Patricia and David Lovin remembered going to Pistol Pete's location on Fort Campbell Boulevard after they got married. They married in 1994, and in 1995 they went to Clarksville, Tennessee, near Fort Campbell Boulevard, to Pistol Pete's gun shop. The giant was standing out front. He was green at the time, already missing his head and arms. Patricia remembered seeing him there for years. When Pistol Pete's was going out of business, they were selling everything. A man with a school bus bought the giant for $15, but he couldn't fit it in the bus. So David bought it from him for $30. They loaded it into the Ford Ranger with legs and feet sticking out the back and drove it home to Mortons Gap. And that is how the Implement Specialty Company giant ended up in a donkey pasture in Kentucky.
How's it going, Nilo? What are we doing?
We're scraping
Scrape, scrape, scrape.
That was really awkward. I was here by myself, scraping the giant scratch.
And he said,
Oh, he didn't say anything.
he said a little to the left. And we've pulled all the bolts, signs, everything holding them together. Michael's done a really good job with the fiberglass. Not all done yet. We got what we could done, and now we're doing all the sanding, and that's what's really drug out, because you know you'll spend hours sanding and get, you know, maybe from his leg to his knee to his leg, his foot, knee to his foot, you know, and then you come in the next day or the next weekend and work on the next part. So that takes a lot of time. Once we get this done, right now he's upside down, he's on his stomach, but underneath he's all done. We've sanded the complete front side of him, so we just have the back side, and then we're done with that. Then we can prime him, and then we can finish the fiberglass up there, because a big concern for us right now is the arms. The arms aren't fitting quite right because he's ripped and he's shifted. So we kind of want to put the arms in place, but we got to sand before we get to that part, so we can paint. So it's just, it's fun. It's just we're in the kind of the boring part right now. We're tired of sanding. We're tired of sanding. We have been working on this guy a long time, but he is getting close now. We're finishing up the last of the fiberglass, and then it's pretty much just painting and putting the head on.
Very quickly, we realized this was going to cost money. That led to the Kickstarter. Neto used his graphic skills to help make a banner and materials for the campaign. We shot a video explaining what we were doing, and for the first and only time, I launched the Kickstarter project. It was a big deal for us. We were asking people to support the restoration of a broken fiberglass giant from Kentucky, and people actually did. At first it was steady, then near the end of the campaign, Kickstarter featured it on their homepage and everything took off. We raised thousands of dollars. It covered the cost of materials and helped give some of the guys a little thank you money for their work. Nobody was getting rich. It was a labor of love, but it proved something important. People cared. They didn't just want to hear about roadside giants, they wanted to see them saved. That changed the future of American giants, because this project showed us that restoration could be part of the mission.
Really subtle details that will make a big difference by the end.
We tried different methods. Michael got a soda blaster and experimented with blasting the old paint off. That turned out to be a really bad idea. It made countless pinholes in the fiberglass. So we learned the hard way that palm sanding just worked better. And there was a lot of sanding, hours and hours of sanding. Then Michael spent hours inside the body repairing holes from the inside out. We fixed the broken foot, we repaired the cracks, we worked on the arm sockets, we cut and modified replacement arms. Michael made custom fittings and cardboard templates so the arms would fit correctly into the body. The replacement head also needed major work. Mark had added the collar and neck, but it was just too long and too large. We had to cut it down and reshape it to make it fit.
So we just trimmed off a bunch of the collar that Mark made us so it would mold. It doesn't really fit, so we're customizing it so it'll fit in the neck.
head was still a little bigger than the original 14-foot head would have been, but compared to the homemade head he had in the field, it really was a better fit. At one point, we even loaded the giant up and took him to a local auto body shop to see what they would charge us to paint him. They looked at him and basically didn't know what to do, so we took him home. That was the whole experience of the first restoration. Trial and error. Try something, fail, learn, try again.
And we keep shuttling back and forth to different locations as we do the work for our convenience so all the guys can access them.
By the middle of 2015, I brought the giant to my house for a while to work on him there. I sanded him in my yard. I sanded him in my basement. It felt endless. Eventually, he ended up at the shop space that became the early home for American Giants restorations. By late 2015, the body was finally getting close. We had repaired the major damage, we had fitted the head and arms, we had sanded him down, and then came primer. That was the first time he really started looking like a giant again.
This is the first time we've had them all together, so to speak. We still have to paint them, we still have to prime them, but this is the first time that we've actually bolted the head on and the arms. We had to make pieces for the arms to go in, molded into his sleeves. We had to put plates, fiberglass plates into the collar. We had to cut the fiberglass on his head to fit just right. But we're basically just, as of 10 minutes ago, getting our first look at this guy all put together. And it's really rewarding. It's very rewarding to see him come together like this.
Before Kurt Robinson became part of our later restorations, this first giant was actually painted by Will Wharf. Will handled the body work and the paint. Netto helped with the fine details, including the face, the shoestrings, and some of the smaller finishing work. We chose blue and red for the colors, and most importantly, we put the Implement Specialty Company lettering back on his chest. Same placement, same general style, same identity. That really mattered to me.
And you guys remember we found Specialty Implement Company on him when we were coming down through all those layers of paint over the years, and voila, there it was. And so we want to put that back. We want to keep them original.
Because restoration isn't just making something look nice, it's putting the story back together. There were mistakes, there were things we painted and then sanded back down, there were things we redid because we were still learning. The head and arms had to be repainted a few times, the process was far from smooth, but by the end of it, we had done something none of us had ever done before. We had taken a broken, headless, patched-together Muffler Man from a Kentucky donkey pasture, and we brought him back to life.
Alright, here we are, and this is our crew. Netto's doing the last finishing touches on the shoes. Pants done. And Implement Specialty Company back on.
On November 15th, 2015, we took him back. That was our setup day. Fully restored, standing again. And for us, that was a turning point, because this giant became the foundation for everything that followed. Our next major restoration was the chief from the Lake of the Ozarks, and by then we had already learned so much from Mortons Gap. To us, the Mortons Gap Muffler Man is special. Not because he was perfect, he wasn't. Not because we knew exactly what we were doing, we didn't. He matters because destiny somehow chose us to find him in the pasture, and to take him home and to patch him and his story back together again.
All the people that pledged on Kickstarter for this guy, they all wrote little messages, and we're going to put them in a time capsule, and we're going to put it in there. We made a little cavity in his head that we can seal, and this will be in there forever with his story and David's story and how he got him and all that stuff. So the story's in here, and then the following list of messages that pledgers for this project wrote to be included in this time capsule. These people and others are the reason the giant was restored, and here are their messages. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff in here. Long live the Muffler Man. People were really not this big. And create the perfect day. These are the best of times. Never stop bringing Weird America back to life.
A figure that sold for $30, a figure that had lost his head and arms, and almost his identity, but not his story. And once we started uncovering that story, it became clear that this wasn't just our first restoration. It was the project that taught us what restoration really meant. And he changed everything.